If you were a kid in the 1960s or the 1970s, chances are you either had or you lusted after one of these, a slot car set. Today we're going to take a look at this classic from 1971. We're going to put it together and see if we can do a little bit of racing. Let's get going. All right, guys, so what are we looking at here? This is a mostly original, early 1970s Aurora AFX set. Cool thing is we have the box. I like looking at the box almost as much as I like looking at the track. Got a couple of cars. I don't know if the cars are going to work. This is mostly an original set. There are a lot of broken parts, so a lot of eBay and tag sales and this, that, and the other over the years. I've been putting this collection together for about 20 years now, and I'm finally at the point where I've got a little bit of time and a little bit of room to put it together and make it go. And we've really got some cool things like the original instructions and the original track layout. So the first thing I'm going to do is see if I can get the whole thing assembled the way that it is on the box. And then we're going to see if it works, and we're going to do a little racing. So let's get to it. All right, so before I get too crazy with this, I want to see if these cars actually work. I'm sure they need to be tuned up. To do that, I've got the power pack plugged into the wall. This is what powers the track. And you can actually test the cars by simply holding the contacts on the bottom against the two connectors here. So I'm going to put on my glasses because my eyesight is not getting any better as I get older. And we're going to try each of the cars carefully. This is not easy to do. All right, this car is working. Doesn't sound spectacular, but it works. This one sounds much better than the first one. Well, this one seems to work too, so that's a good sign. So based on that, we're going to go forward and put the whole track together. And then we're going to just oil these cars if I can find a little bit of oil, because I remember you used to have to lubricate them. And we're going to take them for a spin around the track, so let's get going. Okay, so we're going to get started putting this thing together. For those of you who remember this stuff, this is the, I believe, more modern generation of this track with these snap lock connectors. The earlier tracks had pins that held everything together. The first set I got when I was a kid had these connectors on them, and the problem is they break off pretty easily. So I had to collect, a lot of this track had broken pieces, so I had to get all the right pieces. I'm going to be really, really careful snapping all of this together because once you break a piece off, that never really works right. You can nail the track down and alleviate that. And I have recently discovered that you can buy little connectors that hopefully hold everything together. But right now I think I have enough intact pieces to do this the right way. So let's get going. So as I'm doing this, I am remembering the struggles I had when I was a kid. And without the little bit of patience that I've developed over the years, I can easily understand how I broke so much of this stuff when I was, 10 years old. You have to be really, really careful with it. Let's keep going. All right, so I've got the whole track assembled here, but it's not working correctly. Big surprise. 50 years old, a little bit more than 50 years old actually. Been sitting in boxes forever, and it's an electrical toy, so I'm really not surprised. And what's happening is the cars will make it part way around the track and then stop. And they're stopping for one of three reasons, and those reasons are either the pickups on the bottom of the car are corroded. But if your car is basically moving and then stopping, chances are the pickups are working okay. So I'm going to rule that out. Number two would be the connectors underneath the track. They need to be touching together, and I'm going to show you that. And then number three is the rails themselves. And in a lot of cases, the rails are going to be your problem. So let's take a look at that. All right, so here's two pieces of track put together on my workbench. Looks like it's fine. They have the tabs intact. I'm going to stand this up so that I can get a decent shot because the lighting is tough in here. Here's where they actually connect. You can see, let me grab a pencil. You can see these metal connectors on each side of the track. And they need to be touching each other. And if they're not touching each other, you're not going to have a complete circuit. You have to bend them a little bit. So you can see these two are kind of close. That's the kind of thing you want to tweak and make sure when you snap that track together that it's good to go. So the other thing, and this is the more common problem you have to be aware of, is corrosion on the track. So here's a piece that's in better condition, and when we get close you can see most of these conductors look silver and look okay. On this piece, and this is an older piece, it's not very shiny. Right? So when these are dirty, the car can't make an electrical connection or can't make a good connection, and it's not going to work well. All right, so when you know you have corrosion, basically you take your car and you go around the track and you see where you get to a piece of track where you're running into a problem. And then what I did was I took that tiny, tiny piece of 100 grit sandpaper and I cleaned the rails in the problem area. In fact, the results of that were so good that I went around both lanes, the entire track, and I cleaned it all up. Now, what I have not done is clean up the contacts on the cars, but the difference is this blue car has been lightly oiled. The red car I spent a little bit more time with. And I want to show you the difference between both cars right now. So we're going to start off with the blue car on the inside lane. Hopefully I've got the right controller. Here we go. Let's see if we can get a lap in. Not bad. Now I'm going to take the red car on that same lane. The red car is much better. Now the outside lane, which wasn't working at all before, well, of course you have to change controllers when you change lanes, you knucklehead. Anybody who remembers this from when they were a kid, you want that outside lane. Because you can go so much faster. That is a heck of a lot of fun. I'm stuck in the guardrail. That red car is so ridiculously fast that it's hard to even keep it on the track. And that's with 50-year-old tires. Let's put the camera over here and give you a shot of what that actually looks like. You gotta love that. All right, guys, with all of that being said and done, I'm gonna consider this a success. I still have some work to do. I've got different size guardrails here. I've got a thumbtack holding a piece of the track in place. And that was one of the problems with this snap together track that replaced the track that had pins in it, is even when you have it set up absolutely perfectly, it doesn't always go where you want it to go, and that stresses these little joints, and then they break, and then they have a problem. So I'm going to continue to tweak this until it's absolutely perfect, but I'm in a state right now where I can have my friends come down here and we can race. And I'm going to tweak the rest of my cars, and I'm going to get some tires that are not 50 years old so these things stay on the track better. But if you made it this far in this video, thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you're a race car enthusiast, an AFX Aurora enthusiast, drop me some comments below. Don't hesitate to tell me I'm a knucklehead if I am a knucklehead. I'm not an expert at this, but you know, it's been 50 years since I fooled with it. And again, super happy with the results, especially that outside lane. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep an eye on the channel. Subscribe if you're not. Give me a like, please, if you like this video. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.